Hey, you guys, welcome to this week's edition of the Pantry Chat, Food for Thought. Today, I am really excited to be able to continue on our discussion about toxins in our body. We've been talking about this over the last few months after Josh and I had some toxin testing done and realized we had some really high levels of certain things. Now, one of the things we did not have high levels of, luckily, were environmental toxins that came from household products, which is really exciting to us. And I think it's a testament of all the things that we've been doing over the last few years to try and make sure we're using really clean products in our house or making our own. But there are some things that you just can't make your own in your home as a great equivalent to what you can buy commercially. And for those products, we have been turning to the company Truly Free for the last several years. I love what they do with their products. They're really clean, really toxin free. I love the way they're reducing their plastics in everything. I hate buying things just to throw it away and fill up the landfill. And so today I'm super excited to be able to have Stephen on here with us. He is the CEO and founder of Truly Free. And we're going to be talking about the importance of removing toxins from our cleaning products. So before I bring him on, I just want to tell you a little bit about him. Like I said, he's the CEO and the founder of Truly Free, which is an all-natural cleaning and laundry subscription that helps consumers detox their homes from harmful chemicals and toxins. Now, before he began his conscious capital journey, his background was actually in the restaurant industry. He was building and flipping restaurants for Food Network stars in the heart of New York City. Now, that's a pretty different lifestyle than what most of us are leading right now. But he enjoyed this work. It was exciting, but it also left him feeling empty. And I think a lot of us can identify with that. There was no purpose behind what he was doing, just money, wanting to chase for something else. He wanted to change. And so in 2009, he started Truly Free and has since been on a mission to free over 10 million homes from harmful chemicals and excess plastic waste. So I absolutely just love this. And I feel like he can count our home as one of those 10 million because, we now have the numbers and the lab reports to show that you see all of these red boxes, all of these orange boxes are all empty because we are not dealing with environmental toxins from common household pollutants in our household. And I'm just like, yay, I feel like I must be in a select few special club on that. But I really want to thank you, Stephen, and thank you for coming on today. But thank you for such an amazing set of products that actually work and that allow us to live healthier lifestyles. That's just really exciting.
I am first humbled at your introduction and grateful to be here. I've been a big fan and a follower. We homestead and permaculture, and we're the weird people in our community too. And super grateful to be here, share a little bit about my journey, hopefully give some, practical wisdom, because it could be overwhelming living, or like if you're just getting into homesteading or non-toxic living, it's like, where do I start? So hopefully we can demystify all of that for folks today and make it really approachable to live a great life. So I'm here to serve today. I'm excited. I'm not going to pitch anything. I just want to serve, and I've learned some stuff over the years, and I'm happy to share it with y'all.
Well, he's not going to pitch anything, but I'm going to tell you that if you guys are buying products for your home, you should be checking them out. So I'm going to pitch him because I have tried all the natural things. I've tried so many different natural things out there, and I've tried all the DIY things, especially laundry detergent and dishwasher detergent. You guys, you just can't DIY them and make it actually good for your machine and your clothes. And it's because there's a difference between soap and detergent. There just is. It's a totally different thing. So, you want a really good answer. check them out. Okay, but it won't be a full infomercial, I promise, because we really are diving into the toxins and the story about toxins. So I told them, Stephen, already that you were in New York City flipping restaurants. Tell us a little bit more about how you got from there to here and doing what you're doing now.
Yeah. So I guess the journey for me, so single mom, I was I have a younger brother. So I was told at 11, I was the man of the house. So I started washing dishes in a little Italian restaurant in the South Bronx, a few, blocks away from Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium, when I was a kid, and been working hard ever since. So I cut my teeth in restaurants, grew up, was raised in restaurants. And then I owned my first restaurant when I was 19. Then I started working in corporate restaurant America in New York City and did really well. And my mid-late 20s, started flipping restaurants and built a few and did off-premise catering, like really big stuff, some, Food Network stars. It was an amazing journey. Made a ton of money, but I was ready to lose my marriage and was empty inside because it was just about chasing dollars. And, that lifestyle was brutal. I was commuting back and forth from Connecticut to New York City. It was really, really tough. And then 2008, when the banks crashed, I lost everything. But I didn't lose everything. I had my faith and I had my family and my amazing wife stuck in there with me. And 2010, we picked up sticks, sold everything, but a little bit that we had, and moved to Northern Michigan and started over. But the journey for me, like, how does a chef restaurateur in New York City go to permaculture homesteading in Northern Michigan, selling non-toxic soap? So I guess I could transition to how that happened. And that started in 2008 when I have 5 kids now. But with my first son, I mean, for anybody who's a parent, can, I guess, relate, when it's your first kid, like everything's a really big deal, right? Now, if no one's bleeding and everyone's breathing, it's fine, right? But like when it's your first kid, it's like everything, are they breathing? Is everything okay? And so I was in charge. I think it was one of his first baths, my oldest son. And it looked like when I was getting him undressed on the kitchen counter, you had like that tub that sit inside the sink. And I was getting him undressed in the top, and it looked like I dunked him in boiling water. It looked like he was scourged, like bloody rash, like lines. I was like, this doesn't look normal. So my wife, Amy, she's actually a NICU nurse. So she's trained in like neonatal, like babies, really sick babies. So I called Amy. I was like, Amy, come here. She comes over. And when I saw my wife freak out, then it was like that was it. So like we bundled him up straight to the doctor, pediatrician, straight to the dermatologist because he freaked out. And then dermatologist, he's having some reaction. So they prescribed my wife with antibiotics and this and that because it may be hard with the breast milk. And then it's like him, steroids and this and that. And on the way to the pharmacy, my aunt, was very naturally minded, she was always like the weird one in the family, calls me up and says, what are you using for laundry detergent? I'm like, talking about, like, don't you sick? The baby's sick. Like, what do you mean I'm not doing laundry today. She said, no, like these things can make kids sick. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's, well, they leave all these chemical residues. And I'm like, so before you give Amy all these antibiotics and have to rebuild gut flora, and I'm like, I don't even know what that was. And she's like, just, go to the store, get borax, get vinegar, get this, make this homemade concoction, take all of his stuff and put it in the bathtub and soak it and strip his clothes and try that first. So we did. And the next day he was fine.
Oh. And
I was like, oh my gosh, right? We never filled a prescription. So that was like my aha moment. And as I started asking, I'm a very inquisitive person by nature. And I'm like, well, if laundry detergent can make my kid sick, what else is in the laundry room? What's under the kitchen sink? What's on the kitchen sink? What's in the refrigerator? What's in the pantry? What's? And then I became a full-blown like eco-conspiracy theorist. Everyone's trying to kill us. Which I'd like to believe now, being an entrepreneur, being in this space, that I really don't think that anyone's trying to kill anybody. I think they're just trying to sell you. And so, I had a point where, again, we lost everything, moved to Northern Michigan, and I wanted to do something meaningful. And I met this grandma. She was selling laundry soap at the farmer's market. The business was like, just was fledgling. And So I'm like, I believe, like, the products worked and I believed. And so we pivoted so many times in our early years, trying to figure out how to make our go in life. Failed at everything we tried. And now 2015, I was like, we're ready to go out of business for like the 17th time. And I saw what was happening online, and I said, man, we could sell soap online. Let's sell laundry soap online. I didn't know, we had no money. We were broke. And I said, man, how do you do, like, so I taught myself how to build websites and write code and like be this e-commerce guy. I didn't know anything about it, but I couldn't afford to hire anybody. So I taught myself. And on my way, I was curious after building this website, how much it cost to ship 50 ounces, 5 pounds of laundry detergent around the country. And it cost about $14. We're planning on selling laundry soap for $15. So that was the go out of business strategy. So what came out of that was solving this complicated problem. We said, what about refillable cleaning products? So we pioneered and invented refillable cleaning products. So you get an empty laundry jug or a bottle in the mail and fill it up with non-toxic, concentrate, and you've got, laundry soap and surface cleaners. So we've been on this mission really since 2015. Our early years was just like riddled with trial and failure. And we literally have a museum here in our factory, like, set up. And we have the original concrete mixer from Harbor Freight that we used to mix laundry soap in. And I used to drive the orders to the post office. And now it's hundreds of thousands of packages every month, hundreds of thousands of families all over the world that we ship to right here out of Northern Michigan, and become really this really cool mission-driven brand. And we're just on fire and just doing some really cool stuff. And so that's the story. So it started off with a sick kid. I still cook at home, and I love to cook for friends, but no more restaurants. Now I want to rescue women from trafficking and, build really cool companies and movements that change the world. So there you go. There's my story.
Hey, that's a good one. And you know what? I just have to say, it's proof that the crazy ant saves the world.
No doubt.
It's my goal to be everybody's crazy aunt who just says, oh, wait, what about this other thing? So I totally love that. But yeah, what an amazing story, and just such a transformation. And it's those hard things in life, right, that make you open your eyes and go, wow, let's do it a little different. Let's do something else a little different. For Josh and I, our story started with a child also, and a child's reaction to actually being given a vaccine. And it was an eye-opening moment for us to just go, whoa, we were just doing what everybody does. And when we look around, we go, and everybody's sick. We don't want to do what everybody does because we don't want the results that everybody's getting. And it was just a really eye-opening moment for the same thing that kind of took us down a similar journey. So yay for everything that you've done and all of the households that you've affected. And honestly, we don't talk a lot about the earth side of things, the earth care side of things here at Homesteading Family. But for me, I know I had this moment where I was buying the good laundry detergent that was out there. But we have a family that, I'm often doing laundry for 13 to 15 people. I was throwing away bottle after bottle after bottle of laundry detergent, and it just made me sick. I was just like, I'm like, they could have a landfill in my name just filled with laundry detergent bottles. And so when I saw what you guys were doing and how it was one bottle, like, I have one of my original bottles from you guys. Somebody in the house was helpful when they emptied my very first bottle, and they threw it away thinking that's what you do, and I was like, whoa, where'd my laundry bottle go? Don't throw it away just because it's empty. But I still have, I think, the second one. And, all that plastic that has not gone to the trash because of it, like, that just makes me very happy right there. Not to mention all the different toxicities that we're avoiding. So there are a ton of reasons to switch to non-toxic cleaning supplies out there. Obviously, health is one of them. And we're talking about a little bit of that. Do you have any thoughts on what other great reasons to make that switch are for people who are just like, is it worth the cost of maybe paying a little bit more? Maybe not. Maybe, taking time to source things other than the grocery store or Amazon. Why would we even do that?
It's a great question. So to me, I think health is the number one. The single largest organ of our body is our skin. And the reason why I'm so passionate, I don't know many dudes that are more passionate about laundry than I am. I love dirty laundry. It's
I
just
love it.
filled with opportunity. The reason why I was so passionate about laundry specifically is because I believe it's the most toxic area of the home. And people you could say that to a really educated, intentional person. They say, Stephen, that's bizarre, right? How can laundry soap or the laundry room be more toxic than under the kitchen sink or the stuff in the garage? I mean, think about oven cleaner. Like you're spraying it on 6-month-old grease and it just melts away. How can laundry soap be more toxic? And to me, it's actually logical. How many times do you take that nice aerosol spray of the easy stuff that melts away grease and spray it on your armpits or spray it behind your knees, all these areas that are super on your head? Like how often do you douse yourself with oven cleaner? Well, if you're a normal human being, right, with some level of sanity, the answer to that is 0. You never do that because you'll get chemical burns and you'll be you could respiratory, you could shut your organs down. Hazard signs all over it. So the answer is you don't do that. So the acute toxicity of some of these types of chemicals are really nuts. But normal people are wearing laundry soap all day long. Them and their kids are sleeping in laundry detergent. They're coming out of the shower when their pores are open out of a hot shower and rubbing laundry chemicals into them. They're wearing it all day long. And I'll give you here's a practical example. So if you're listening to this and if you've used store-bought conventional blue goo, green goo laundry products, go grab a towel out of your closet, brand new, washed, clean. Go grab a pot of water and just put your hand towel in there, shake it, see what happens. You're gonna have bubbles that come up out of that, residual chemicals. Well, when you sweat, because you're designed to detoxify through your sweat, you should not, antiperspirants is evil. You need to sweat. You need to detoxify, right? You need to get stuff out. That's what God created us to do that. Well, when you're sweating, you're perspiring just on a small level, you're rehydrating these chemicals that have been dried into your fabrics. And now you created a pathway for them to get absorbed right into the largest organ in your body.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like if I had my choice between organic food and healthy nutrition, or if I had to choose, first choose the stuff that goes in you, right? That's apex number one. But then it's the stuff that goes on you. Mm-hmm. Then it's the stuff around you. But first, take care of the inside. The outside will take care of itself. But the stuff on the outside, our skin, and unfortunately, women, because of vanity and marketing, douse themselves not only in laundry chemicals, but these perfumes and these fragrances and lotions and potions and all of this vanity stuff. And this stuff is bizarrely toxic, right? And this industry, unfortunately, the food industry, have a lot of regulation. What's on a label, USDA, facilities, you can't put stuff on a box, processed food, you got to disclose what's in there. And hopefully, most of the time, you have the USDA that'll walk into food processing plants and verify clean, sometimes, most of the time, to verify what's in the label is really what's going in the food. But in the chemical industry, cleaning industry, perfume industry, cosmetics industry, it doesn't. And it's kind of like the foxes guard the hen house. So I'm actually a really bad businessman because I'm one of the rare guys that are list our formulations on our website and on our products, hoping that our competitors steal it.
Yeah.
It's not very good business. right? But to me, it is good business because I believe everyone deserves a right to know what they put in them and on them.
Yeah.
So, that's why laundry. We're so passionate. We systematically went around the house, right? Because what companies are allowed to put on you and not have to tell you, to me, is criminal.
Yeah.
And so we decided to do something about it, and we've proven that you could do right by people and they keep buying from you, and you can employ hundreds of people and build something really cool by helping people. So hope that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. Well, just to go back to your even test of your laundry, this happened to Josh and I many, many years ago, right when our first child was born. I think we were remodeling the house. We had to move the laundry system around. And instead of it draining out a pipe, the washing machine, like most people's laundry did, we actually had it going into a sink that was right next door sitting right next to it for a short period of time while we were doing some remodeling. That was the most eye-opening thing I've ever seen. I was horrified at what was coming out of my rinse water in my loads because I could actually see it there. Not only was it dirty, but it had so much soap in it still. So much, and at that point it was just, we were using the good old, what you buy off the store shelf laundry detergents. And it was actually pretty horrifying to me to see, one, I'm either overusing it or it's not really working because so much was coming back out again. Two, it wasn't actually working. The amount of dirt that was still coming out of the product, at the end was amazing to me. I was like, whoa, these clothes were not actually clean. Like, we should have done a couple more rinses on them. This was very eye-opening. But then when you start thinking about what that means for what's going on in your body and what you're living with, we hear people all the time. Same thing you were talking about, children with sensitive skin, children with rashes, children, all these different things. And it's no wonder when you're pretty much, if you took a bar of soap and you just rubbed it on them and didn't wash it off, what would happen? You would have skin problems eventually. It would dry out. It would get itchy and flaky. You would have all these different things going on. And essentially that's what we're doing with all of our clothes, except for we're adding some high level of toxic ingredients that, like you're saying, most of us don't have the transparency into what's actually in that laundry detergent. We don't even know what we're walking around wearing all day, but it's probably not predominantly our clothes. Like something else is in there and it's getting all over you all day long.
Yeah.
It's an important thing to be paying attention to.
Couldn't agree more.
Let's see. So let's talk about some of the harmful chemicals that are out there that are in kind of mainstream cleaning supplies, whether it's laundry detergent or other types of cleaning supplies. Do you like have some that you think of that are at the top of your mind? I'm kind of throwing this at you right here. Like, there's a lot. What kind of stuff is in regular cleaning supplies?
All right, so I'm going to throw some factoids down.
Oh, fun.
So there's the system is called GHS, Global Harmonized Systems. It's a numbering system, internationally accepted. When a chemical compound is created, whatever that is, water has its own CAS number, CAS, and it's a number that is associated with a chemical. And there's over 100,000 registered chemicals on the planet, right?
Okay.
In the European Union, there are 12, just shy now from what last I looked, there's just shy of 12,000 of those registered chemical agents that in the European Union are prohibited from being manufactured, imported in raw state, or even as an ingredient inside a finished good.
Okay.
Okay, so just give you some context. So just about 12,000 raw ingredients that are prohibited from even touching EU soil.
Okay.
Take a guess on how many are prohibited here in the United States. U.S. has some of the most government oversight of any country in the planet. So there's just about 12,000 in the U.S. Guess how many there are here in the U.S.?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I want to be really generous and say maybe we're not as good and we're at like 10,000, but I'm afraid you're going for a much lower number than that.
There's 14.
Oh man. Wow.
So what should we not have? Well, it's the delta between 14, somewhere around 14, somewhere around 12,000. We don't have enough time to go through that, nor am I a chemical engineer and can walk you through those.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on here at Home Soil USA. Front Street USA, you've got tens of thousands of chemicals and over 10,000 of them that are banned in other countries that we're allowed to put in products here. So let's just, so there's the shock and the awe factoid.
Hey. Yeah.
So for us to go through a lexicon of those would be impossible.
Right.
And that's only looking at the acute toxicity of the raw ingredient. But when you put A, B, and C together and you've got this other compound, there's no way to accurately predict that what happens to the human genome when you start putting all these chemicals in concert. There's no way. So then let me just give some, if I could answer the question from a different approach and just say, hey, here's the types of things that I personally did not and will not allow in my family. If I can't research it and know what's in it, then it's a no. For example, in the US, under USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office, there's a loophole, and the industry kind of calls it, it's called the fragrance loophole. So if you have an ingredient that's in a product that has less than 1% concentration, you could loop it in under trade secret law, and you could put it in this thing called fragrance. So on the ingredient label, it says fragrance or parfum, and you're like, great, it's one thing, it's fragrance. No, that could be comprised of hundreds of things, and you won't even know. So if it has fragrance and they don't, again, we're the weird guys that disclose what's in our fragrances, right? Which is on laundry, plant-based fragrance oils, and essential oils. A lot of our other products, only essential oils or hydrosols, but we literally list them. So if it's fragrance and they don't tell you what's in it, I wouldn't buy it. Me. If it's blue, if it's colored, blue or green, I wouldn't buy it. And here's why. Because all of these dyes, some of them are dyes, which are not as bad, but a lot of them are actually what we call UV brighteners. And what ultraviolet light brighteners do is under artificial lighting, it tricks your eyes into believing that your clothes are brighter than they really are by triggering a different ocular spectrum in your eyes. So years ago, when the marketing message was like brighter brights and whiter whites, the clothes weren't brighter, but what they were is it was an optical illusion because they left a film. If you say, well, well, think about this. I don't know, maybe I'm dating myself, but I used to go to clubs. My parents used to go to discos, and there's things like called black lights, and kids are, and so you go to a dark place, a club, and people are like glowing in the dark, right? Their clothes are glowing. And the reason why is because what you're seeing is the reflection of those UV brighteners under black light. So those chemicals are engineered, right, through other things, through these oil-based surfactants, petrochemicals, suds makers, to leave an actual blue hue, a blue film or a green film on your clothes so that under UV lights, your clothes appear brighter. To make matters worse, the mass majority, 90% or more of the textiles that are made in India, in China specific, a lot, in Asia, that come here, that are winding up on the store shelves of, mainstream fabric providers, clothing providers, name the store. These clothes are sprayed with a pharmacopoeia of chemicals, flame retardant chemicals, which are bizarre. They're also sprayed with UV brighteners. So then when they're at the store and you're walking by the aisle, you say, oh, here's some really nice pajamas for my kids. Those pajamas are literally sprayed with UV brighteners and sprayed with flame retardant chemicals that you actually can't wash out. Like there's nothing that you could do to wash out these bromine-based flame retardants, which is a crazy story. I could tell you if you want how that came to be. The takeaway message here is people get these clothes, buy kids' pajamas or whatever that is, and go home and put them on their backs. Why? Because they're brand new. And you're now putting some of the most toxic chemicals to the human genome on your body, and no one has, and they don't even have to tell you they're doing it. They don't list it on the little tag in the back. So this is like what's happening, right? We wonder, like, why are people so sick? Well, it's because like God made us with this amazing immune system, and it's like you fill up that bucket, the bucket overflows. It's like, what do you do with this stuff? And that's why all these emergences of like autoimmune and all this stuff. And I've been fortunate to be friends with some of the most leading functional, holistic, integrative doctors on the planet. And it's just like, it's biochemical warfare. And no one even knows we're at war. And everyone is. No one's exempt, right? But nobody talks about it. Anyway, so stuff that's blue, stuff that's goo, stuff that's, buried in these blend of surfactant, proprietary this, proprietary that. Okay, well, if it's proprietary, then keep your money proprietary. I'm going to keep mine and vote with somebody else that's actually telling me what they're putting on me. So there's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so many of these things we hear that, oh, well, they're deemed safe, right? The FDA has said, or the Environmental Working Group, or, whoever it is that's given us numbers or reports or anything that we're looking at, they're deemed safe in small quantities. Well, that's great, but we're not getting small quantities of them anymore. We're getting this, plus this, plus this, plus this, and we're getting it on everything and in everything all day long. It's in our air, it's in our food, it's in our water, on our clothing, and, the things that we're doing to keep our selves clean and healthy are actually toxifying us everywhere. I remember as a young mom, I heard some number that was like, it takes 12 washes. This is what I was told. I never looked it up. I've never known the science behind it. And from what you're saying, it's probably not even true. It takes 12 washes for a garment to get the, the basic like sizing and all of the different chemicals that they put on out of it to be able to wear healthfully. What I didn't know at that point was that here I'm turning around and trying to do some washes on these things, making sure nobody's wearing clothes straight off the rack without some washes. But then I'm washing them in pretty much chemicals, trying to get the chemicals out. And, you just go, where do you turn? How do you make changes that actually help to protect your bodies and your children's young developing bodies from all these toxins out there? What are the changes you make in your home? What are your top things?
So food is the top, right? So no question, right? The more we've pressed into, permaculture and homesteading and true nutrition, the majority of our house is highly perishable. The things that aren't perishable are the things that we produce and can, and, for the most part. Obviously, it's not bulletproof, right? But we have our own bees, and we don't like no sugars, and we do as much as we can. And when we shop the perimeter of the supermarket, right? I go direct to butchers. We support local farmers that are rotationally grazing their cattle, that aren't being fed all this crazy stuff and being pumped full of antibiotics because their guts are being destroyed by all the chemicals that are in their food system. So we try and shop as local as possible. I mean, we raise, a couple hundred chickens a year, and then we can chicken, and then like that's our chicken and then I'm an outdoorsman, so like me and my boys, like we harvest venison, and then we do like there's a protein. So we try and I'm a fisherman, so we like catch all of our own fish, and like so we, as much as possible, I want, like, my dream one day is to have plus 90% of our home proteins to be completely harvested from an either directly or a known source. We're probably around 30 to 40% right now in the family. Processed foods are very far and few between in our home. We just, because again, you start thinking about the preservatives and all the crazy stuff that goes in food. We just don't really spend a whole lot of time in the center of the supermarket, except for things that you just absolutely need to have, right? Potentially grains or, flours and, things like that. And we're a gluten-free house, right? So we don't, so we are really like off the deep end in the weird place.
You're not popular at potlucks.
We are not. Well, actually, we are. Well, I'm a chef, so I figured out a way to do this stuff. So it's the fake food tastes really good. That's what one of my best friends calls me. Fake. Any fake food around here? Anyway, so that's like one of our core disciplines is like what we put in our kids is really, really like we want to know. Like I'm a coffee nerd, and like coffee is full of mold, right? If you go to the store, coffee is full of mold. So like we buy only coffee, single origin. We know who's roasting it. Like they know they're testing it for mycotoxins, that we're not literally drinking mold. So really what goes in us is probably the most important thing, because we take the cleaning side of the world for granted, because if I need more anything, well, I'm at the office. I just grab stuff to go home. And Amy, my wife, has, again, starting off as a NICU nurse, allopathically Western trained, now like turned completely like into what I believe is the true medicine, right? Is empowering ourselves to heal. Like the way she thinks about skincare, right? Like there's no perfumes. We have no colognes in the house. And she's systematically over the years, and my wife is stunning and she's so beautiful inside and out. I'm like, babe, you don't need all this junk anyway. You're gorgeous regardless, and you're aging perfectly. So don't reverse it, like embrace it. And now she's shifted all of our skincare to like really like, again, wholesome, non-toxic things that you could research. So just piece by piece, right? Like, don't be overwhelmed. If you're just the first time you're listening to this type of content, watching this video, listen to this podcast, don't be overwhelmed. Just make one step at a time, right? These companies don't want to kill you. They want to sell you. So vote with your dollars with companies and products and farmers that are actually doing stuff to make you healthy. And just do it one by one. It's like one small victory. I say this, from stage and, talking like conscious capital summits, and I'm keynoting an event next week. And it's like, well, the reason why organic spinach is the same price of its chemically pesticide-ridden, genetically modified distant relative is not because farmers became philanthropists, right? It's because people like us said, I don't want that. I want this. And they voted with their dollars. And then big agriculture, big production houses had to say, hey, either we're going to lose market share to these granola crunching hippies, or we're going to pivot and find a way to scale what people want. So that's it, right? That's capitalism. That's how it works. So the more which you're doing an amazing job at educating and empowering people, the more people say, I'm now going to live this type of life. This is now where I'm going to spend my money that I work so hard to earn. Then what's going to happen is businesses are going to say, there's an opportunity here. We should stop doing this and we should start doing that because there's more people buying here. And that's just the game. So that's why we start Truly Free Market and why we're doing what we're doing. It's like, I want to empower small business to do good things. And the more that, us, like me, everyday consumers vote with their dollars, we change the world.
I love it. And we have so much power. We don't realize how much power we have, but we have to step up and take responsibility. And we have to start paying attention to what we're doing and putting our dollars in the places that actually are behind the products that we want to support. It makes a difference. It really does. And it has to start with every single one of us in our own homes. This can't be something that, somebody else champions. This is something you have to champion in your own home to make these changes and support the things that actually matter. Okay. Rubber meets the road. Question for you. Can non-toxic cleaners actually clean things as well as toxic ones?
So, all right, I'm not gonna be a pitch guy, right? Because I want to deliver content, I want to deliver value. But here's the commitment that we made, right? Because when we started this journey, it was like people at the end of the day, want to protect their families. But if you're throwing out your clothes because you can't get them clean, or you're having to spend 3 hours cleaning your stove, or that stuff, that caked on thing won't come off your dishes, we could do a really good job at convincing you once to come back, to come join our movement. But if you don't deliver the value and the efficacy, you're only good for You're only good for one, this transaction is once in a lifetime. So, so we've been on the cutting edge of green chemistry from the jump, right? And so, we can't compromise efficacy because people deserve stuff that works. Listen, if you want to be like you want to get crazier than me, then grab a bow and arrow, head off in the mountains, shoot a bear, get the fat, go back to the campfire, grab the potash, the ashes from the fire, render down the fat, make some soap, and scrub your stuff in the stream. There is nothing less toxic than that, right?
Right.
However, good luck. I'm an outdoorsman. That ain't easy. And two, it's not going to get out every stain. So then you start increasing like, hey, well, what if? So we've really been on this cutting edge of plant-based cleaning agents for over a decade. So we work with some of the most cutting edge green chemical suppliers, raw ingredient suppliers on the planet, literally around the world. But there's been so much innovation here in the US. So yes, you can get stuff that works, right? Truly Free is not the only, green company that makes things work, but I do believe we are the most efficacious non-toxic provider ever. I believe that. And we've got gobs of, independent research and obviously hundreds of thousands of families every single month that trust us to get their clothes clean, get the dishes clean. And like we talked about laundry, like the dishwasher. Oh my gosh, you want to talk about a toxic place. Like, you buy these little tablet things, all the colorful things, or the powders and the juices and the gels, and like these things are designed, they literally leave a chemical film on your dishes, on your coffee mugs. Like, oh, I got organic and single origin coffee made in this and that. And you add it to a mug coated in chemicals, and you're drinking this stuff in. Well, I don't know what's worse, drinking in coffee, bad coffee, or drinking in, dish detergent. So we just said, we just have to be on the cutting edge. We got to give people, a great experience, and their stuff it's got to work, and you can't compromise our core values. So yes, you can. We believe we did it. There are other companies that are close, but we think we're the best.
Well, and I think a lot of us have had bad experiences, because I know I read many years ago something about handling very old or very ill people in your homes, which is something I'm passionate about, learning about how to bring, hospitality, the hospital and hospitality back together in the home of caring for people when they're sick. And something that I read said, first of all, never use dishes that have gone through the dishwasher. This was a health article about handling older people. They said, because it's the most toxic thing in your house. Like, you should never give that to people who are ill. And my brain immediately goes, what do you mean people who are ill? I don't want to become ill. I'm not going to give that to my children, to myself. Like, if we know this, why are we consuming it? And so I really went on a mission to find a healthy version. I'll tell you what, I made every single homemade dishwasher detergent out there, or soap out there, and they just don't work, is what it comes down to. And they start actually ruining your machine. So as much as I'm a DIY just about everything person, there are two things on the cleaning world that I'm just like, you just don't: a dishwasher and washing machines, because they're machines. They're not, they're not you scrubbing your laundry in boiling water against an old rubbing board, doing it by hand. It is a machine that's automated. It's not meant to work with the old-fashioned methods, because it is a new method. So when I read that, though, and I went through all those experiences, I was like, well, what am I going to do? Do I have to choose between clean dishes or, making this stuff myself that's not any good, or adding toxins to all of our foods? And so, I went and I tried every natural one out there, and I was frustrated by every single one of them, because they just really didn't clean, because they're not leaving that chemical trail on our plates that make it pretty much, non-stick the next time food hits it, right? So it's the toxins we're doing. So that is why when I got so excited when you guys came out with your dishwasher, you guys have had it out now for a couple of years. And it's all we will use.
It's always our top 3 selling product. It is next to laundry, our most subscribed product. Every
Mm-hmm.
single people get it. And it was the product that took us the longest to figure out.
Yeah.
That was, wow. That was a brutal testing. I don't know how many loads of laundry, loads of dishes I asked my wife to do. We would literally, and we have 5 kids, we would literally make a mess.
Right.
We couldn't make messes fast enough for us to test all these different formulas. So it was really tough. And now we've got something that's, I mean, honestly, it's probably, you know, we have 40 plus products in our stable. It's definitely like top 3, top 4 best, like most ridiculous breakthrough innovation we've ever created.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. So you guys, as we are starting to wrap up here, let's just go really quickly over the steps that you can take to clean your home from the cleaning products that you've had. Definitely one, you want to look at what kind of cleaning products you're using. Either make them yourself or find something really clean, like Truly Free. Go check them out. But I actually have a few videos out there. If you're into just using vinegar and baking soda on a lot of surfaces, that works really, really well. And you don't need to even buy anything. You can just make your own at home. But you've got to be really careful with your porous surfaces. These are your fabrics, anything that's going to hold things. You do not want chemicals being held in things that are going to re-release constantly into your environment. We've got to get that cleaned up. You need to find better sources than whatever it is that comes in the spray bottle off the grocery store shelf. Some other really simple things that you can do: open your windows. Like, hopefully you live in a place where your air is somewhat clean. Open the windows, get an air filter inside, get the stuff that's circulating already, back that off, get some healthy breathing area for yourself. Make sure you're using that non-toxic cleaner, non-toxic fabric, cleaner, laundry soap, whatever it is. Make sure you're changing your air filters. If you have an HVAC system, please get actual real filters and change them regularly. These things are important because these toxins are serious and they're in your body. And you need to kind of put it into that. Stop filling that bucket so that your body can detox and get what's already in there out, instead of trying to, try to clean it up, but have it still overflowing all the time because you've got more and more stuff coming in. So before we go, though, Stephen, I really want to go back and touch on something that you were talking about, and that is let's see, I'm trying to find the exact right term, the conscious capital journey that you've been on. Now, I know this could be an entirely whole conversation that we could like spin out on for a couple hours, but I love this kind of win-win thing that's going on here. It's win for the consumer. It's win for you and your family. It's win for your employees. You can have a great working environment for them. And then you're able to turn around and you're able to give back into the community. Some of the things that you're involved in supporting as a company is super exciting to me. And I want to bring this out because I think sometimes in our capitalist world, we have this mindset of it's like, I win, they lose. And it doesn't have to be that way. And this is so important because as much as we want to DIY everything, as much as we want to be self-sufficient, the reality is we have to be community sufficient. None of us can always do everything. And so finding answers to how this can be healthy for everyone involved is really important. So will you share with us some of the things you've had the opportunity to be involved with because of this model of conscious capitalism?
Sure. It's a serious passion for me. Truly Free Home is my baby, right? From a crazy idea, what if a refillable laundry jug, to now, a global movement. And now with our new startup, Truly Free Market, which is a fully decentralized social commerce platform. I mean, all of that is to like fuel change. For example, one of the things that we're so passionate about is human trafficking and child slavery. We spend a lot of time talking about slavery in this country right now, and to create division between two different peoples. There are more slaves alive today than any other time in human history. I'll say that there are more slaves alive today in captivity and in bondage than any other time in human history. And yet we don't talk about them because it's not, there's no way to really profit off of that.
Yeah.
So like, this is something that I'm really passionate about. And what is, sex trafficking and child organ harvesting have to do with laundry soap? Well, to most people it's nothing, but to us, it's everything. So, my favorite product we ever created is our Dryer Angels. If it's a dryer sheet alternative, right? It's hand sewn angel and dress. You refill the dress with this, scented corn cob sachet with essential oils. And it replaces like really toxic dryer sheets. But like that product has been a really cool project for us. We fund an entire deaf village in Jamaica through that. That never could have survived COVID without that one product. We've started multiple industries in Jamaica from that one idea and how much we pay them to make it, which is 20 times more than if I had it made in some sweatshop in Asia. And we've started industries on the back of that one idea, which is a dryer sheet alternative. But then they couldn't keep up with our growth, and that ministry is called Caribbean Christian Centers for the Deaf. A really amazing group of people, 2 campuses, really changing the paradigm of the ostracized community, the deaf of Jamaica. But then they couldn't keep up with our growth, and they were like, hey, again, this is where the conscious capitalism comes in. And say, hey, we can't keep up with your growth, but how about we hire a bunch of non-deaf people to come work for us? Well, how about we get some automated equipment so that we can speed up production? Now, the capitalist in me be like, yeah, scale it up, baby. Drive down cost, give me margin. But then the conscious thing really rubs up against that. So I said, no, we'll keep you guys gainfully employed, keep rocking. So we went out to Southeast Asia where there's a huge problem. We've rescued hundreds of women from slavery, many of which have sustainable jobs now sewing Dryer Angels. We've rescued them, safe houses, through the whole life cycle. We now fund an entire safe house infrastructure on the border of Dominican Republic and Haiti, like grassroots stuff where like girls, like it's just the stories and the pictures that I get to see, it like brings me to tears, like gut wrenching stuff of what's happening there. And it's happening right here in the US. So like, that's just one of lots of things that we're doing. And why, I'm not sure if we just launched Truly Free Market. Our app just went live on the App Store, but we have like reinvented commerce. And I feel like God gave me this vision to just like Truly Free Home was the proof that it could be possible, right? We created a blueprint for this. And now we've just created a mechanism for other great small businesses and brands that are under siege right now. There's a war being waged against small business, really good companies, Front Street USA, by these mega corporations that are just crushing people. And it's not through capitalism, it's crony, right? It's crony capitalism. Yeah. And it's infuriating, right? Why a farmer can't grow non-GMO organic food and is being crushed by mega farm corporations that are forcing them through patent infringement not to grow corn and spray it with carcinogenic glyphosate. So we said, you know what, I'm going to pick a fight with the big guy now, all of them. And so we just created this really incredible platform. So we combine social media with commerce and digital currency where literally everybody wins. And that's conscious capitalism. Everybody should win. And if anybody should lose, and they deserve to lose, the people that are hurting people, let them lose, right? But for great small businesses and brands and service providers that are trying to do good, well, you've got an ally now, because now I'm with you in picking this fight.
Wow, I just love what you're doing. I'm so excited to get to have you here and to get to hear about it and to hopefully get to kind of spread your message here that we can have good things for us, good things for our communities. We can have work environments. We can have good products for our homes and for our children, and we can do it, and we can still help other people while doing it. Like that's what life should look like. That's something that Josh and I have always been passionate about, is making it not just win-win, but it should be win-win-win-win, right? It should be win for everybody who touches it. It should be good for everyone involved. And otherwise it's just not good. It's not good enough, and it shouldn't be there. And it's such an amazing thing to be able to start a conversation about toxins in our home and say, and we can do these other good things. We can do these good things for us and do good things for other people at the same time. And that is not something that is an opposing thing. And that just makes me so happy. That's a happy spot for us here. So thank you so much for coming on, for all of the enlightenment here. You guys, if you haven't checked out Truly Free, make sure you check them out. I'll have a link for you in the show notes or down in the description. And make sure you are taking at least some step to get the toxins out of your home. One thing at a time. It doesn't have to be everything at once, but choose a product that you use all the time and change it out. Start with those things that you're either consuming or that you're wearing on your body, and get those changed over to healthy products. Thank you, Stephen, so much for coming on. I just really appreciate your time and your inspiration here, because I feel inspired now. I've got all sorts of great ideas. So thank you for your time.
Keep up the great work. Bless you all.